You're so cute! I am so excited to have Meaghan, not Meaghan, unless she was in college.
I was in college, I pretended it was Meaghan, but I stopped, and then a teacher would be like, Meaghan, and I wouldn't respond, and then I'm like, okay, it's just Meaghan. I'm not gonna try.
Okay, we'll just go back to Meaghan.
Just gonna make it Meaghan.
Meaghan Murphy on today on Life Fun's Chit Chat. I've been obsessed with her Instagram page because of the word yay. I love her positivity. I love how she instigates thought. And I also love that she's honest when she's struggling. In addition, she is also...
I used to be called like editor-in-chiefs, but because now I oversee print and digital, I'm called the content director. So I'm sort of like the content chief of all things Woman's Day.
Yes! Isn't that cool? Does it get any more cool than that?
I mean, probably not.
The best job ever.
Daughter did my makeup, but
Okay.
I have new hair skills. And you look so glam. My daughter's room, and I'm asking my daughter to leave now because I love her.
I want to meet your daughter.
It's her.
Hi.
You are so cute. How old are you?
I'm 9.
No, you are not. How in the world are you 9? You've been alive 9 years?
9 years.
How cute are you? What are you doing today?
I'm just finishing up my schoolwork.
What's your favorite subject?
Writing.
And makeup.
Writing. You're your mother's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And makeup. Tell me a makeup tip about, like, let's look at me. What's something I should have done I didn't do?
I think you look good.
You think so? Do I have too much makeup on?
I think you look good.
She
You're
thinks
being
good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, I really do appreciate your feedback because I need a makeup expert in my life.
Right? Did you do your own hair too?
Okay, I did, but I'm going to tell you guys both that this is smoke and mirrors. Your bio is so impressive.
Welcome, ladies. So, Meaghan, what did women say their biggest concern was when it comes to money?
Top fears, 69% said lifestyle. I'm never going to have enough money to go out to dinner, to get my nails done, to do the things.
So we called in Meaghan Murphy, deputy editor of Self Magazine, to help us out.
Smoothie is putting in your liquids first.
Here to show us how to do all of it is certified trainer and executive editor of Good Housekeeping, Meaghan Murphy. Good morning.
I'm Meaghan Murphy, the fitness director of Self Magazine, and today's sculpting move from the 2010 Self Challenge.
And I want to talk about your beginnings.
And my trajectory is sort of hard to follow because when I was 18, I won an essay contest on overcoming adversity, and I was a Horatio Alger National Scholar. So by virtue of winning that contest, I wound up being on an NBC special. I got some national attention. Bob Costas hosted the show. Trisha Yearwood performed. And so I wound up being in some magazine articles and some newspaper articles around the country for voicing my struggles with adversity and having overcome that. I had some really tough struggles as a teen. Eating disorder, I was anorexic. My best friend and I were tandem anorexics. So I was very, very sick. I was hospitalized. And then our parents were best friends. So she was going to be hospitalized with me, and she jumped out of the car. And because she was so weak and thin, she died on the spot.
Wow.
And so this, I'm 16 years old. I feel guilty. I feel like it's my fault. I have to process this, and I'm not well to begin with. You know, this was my 3rd hospitalization. I spent a year in, institutionalized. It was a really tough time. And I wrote, but the thing is, there's a grain of good in all bad. I mean, I wrote an incredibly powerful essay by virtue of having gone through that, which then I won a $10,000 scholarship. I was on an NBC special. Don Johnson and Bob Costas celebrated me. Trisha Yearwood performed. Every magazine called wanting to do my story, which then I translated into, sure, but I'll write it. And sure, I'll be your intern. Oh, yeah, now I'm your contributing editor. So
turning that mess into a message unlike any other, and stepping into your destiny, where what the opposite of good intended for bad to literally take your life.
Mm-hmm.
You were given your life in the good that came out of it.
Exactly. When you make your mess your message, you can really empower yourself and a lot of other people. Yeah. And that's really what happened. By sharing my struggles, by sharing my story, by sharing my adversity, it helped me to move through it, and it helped me connect with a lot of other people in the process, which was pretty magical. So I wouldn't change a thing. Sometimes I look back, in the same way I look back and I'm like, I was a host on MTV. That was really my life. Like I did that.
That's so fun.
Yeah, I was an actress.
Was Carson Daly involved?
Yes. So I
Like a best friend?
was the co-host on the Carson Daly show, and I was a lifestyle correspondent on MTV, and I was an actress. So I did commercials and off-Broadway. Like I did that whole scene. But I look back now and I'm like, I did?
As you're like making pancakes and your pajamas.
Oh, I'm like, I was at the Grammys. I was at the MTV Music. I was there. I never went to a frat party, but I was at the Grammys. And that translated into an internship at YM Magazine, which quickly led to a contribute editor job by the time I was 19. It also led to a job at the Star Ledger. So I was like 18, I was working at the Star Ledger, which was a newspaper in New Jersey, interning at YM Magazine, going to school for journalism, which wound up turning into an acting degree, but sort of doing all of those things simultaneously. Contributing editor, I think it was like 19, 20, 21. Then I was tapped by Time Inc. to help launch a teen magazine, which ultimately became Teen People. Won the essay contest my senior year of high school, and everything all kind of emanated from that.
What words of wisdom would you give to anyone that is struggling with an eating disorder or any kind of hurt habit or hang up that they're just trying to get through right now?
Well, I think the key too is to always look at it as like, it's not the food, it's not the alcohol, it's not the drugs. So what is it?
Right.
Can you take a deeper dive? I know even now, if I'm struggling with body image or I'm struggling with food, it's not about the food. It's about what else in my life is out of control. Is it the fact that I'm locked in my house, homeschooling 3 children, starting a new job and finishing a book? Yes. Ding, 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 ding. That's what's bad. It's not the size of my thighs. It's not what I had for dinner. It's that I feel overwhelmed and out of control in other aspects of my life. So how am I taking care of myself to move through that? Am I doing the things I need to do to feel good overall? So I see it with my kids right now. My kids are struggling. This is a really hard time. Did you get enough sleep? Did you take a shower today? Did you comb your hair? Because guess what? Let's notice that we feel better when we get dressed. Dress up to feel up. We feel better when we do that. We feel better when we make our bed. We feel better when we get fresh air. We feel better when we move our bodies. We feel better when we eat more always foods than sometimes foods. So let's pay attention to what makes us feel strong and good and in control and do more of that and less of what doesn't. Because really the key now more than ever is figuring out how to take care of yourself in all of the different charges that your health charge, your love charge, your work charge, your extra charge, your recharge. How are you taking care of you in all of those facets?
Oh, and seen. That is so true. Or reaching out in any way, shape, or form is so important when we're needing that support. Especially during this time where it is easy to feel isolated and confused and the unknown and it's unsettling and what in the world's going on. It's so good to lean on each other. Don't you agree?
And that's the thing too, is I think we just sometimes misinterpret. Like you could be lonely and that's turning into self-hatred, but really you're lonely. So do you need a plant? Do you need a puppy? Do you need a Zoom call with a friend? What's really happening to create these negative feelings? That's what I'm seeing it so much with my kids. My daughter's moody, having a bad day. And I'm like, you're still in your pajama pants and it's 4:00. Let's take a shower. Let's move our bodies. Put on some mascara. Yeah. I'm letting my daughter do all these makeup tutorials now. She's only 9. She's got her James Charles makeup palette and she's doing a different smoky eye, green eye, orange eye every day. And guess what? I see an improvement in mood and therefore bust out the makeup palette. So whatever that is for you. For me, it means I need to wear pants that button. I need to take a shower. I need to dry my hair. It makes me feel more human and I'm better for it. And you just have to know that about you. What is it about you? What fuels you? What charges you? And giving yourself those things.
Sometimes we put these, I guess they're just limitations we have in our minds that are binding us up that don't really matter.
No, and when I see her express herself that way and I see her mood change, I'm like, okay, that's magic. And she's not getting that from jumping on the trampoline or, doing a puzzle. It's the smoky eye that makes her alive.
You are known for your joy. You are known for community efforts for spreading joy. What are you seeing right now with COVID in this pandemic as far as joy goes? Can you share with us some of the things that you're finding? Because you're looking for joy all the time.
I'm looking for joy, and I'm finding a lot of it. There is this trend of balloon magic. In front of my house, I have helium balloons that say, find the yay. We did a rainbow balloon arch. There's this one family that's doing this incredible balloon art. They did for Mother's Day, a giant champagne balloon, and they did one for teachers rock, and one for our healthcare workers. We're decorating pallets. There's this whole movement to decorate pallets as the shape of peace signs and flags. I mean, there's really been an incredible community spirit. We're rallying together to raise money for the local businesses, to shop local, to support any way we can. And I feel that that's really nice to allow this to bring out the best in our communities and our neighbors. And I'm seeing that here.
I love that you're promoting this unity and joy and rainbows. I tell my husband all the time, thank you for letting me live on a rainbow.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Rainbows are having a moment.
Where does that joy come from? How do you sustain it?
I think the neat part for me is I train to live this way. So I'm not inherently yayful. I'm not inherently positive or optimistic. My nickname as a child was Grumpy. I wore a grumpy necklace. Our primal default is negativity, and I was the embodiment of that negativity. I retrained my brain and I reprogrammed my life to find the yay, to find the joy.
You are giving so many grumpy people hope right now.
That's the biggest reason I wrote my book, The Fully Charged Life, is to give people these tips and tricks and strategies to live this way, because it feels really good. You do kind of look at your life in terms of charges. So you have your positive charge, and that's to retrain your brain to more automatically see the good. The health charge, you got to sleep, you got to eat well in order to feel good. If you don't do that stuff, you're going to feel like crap. The work charge, how do you find meaningful work and connections? The love charge, how do you have important connections with not just the people in your home, but like the cashier at the grocery store? And the recharges is about Operation Good Grief and moving through tough times. And the extra charges is celebrating all those little bonuses, like having a favorite color and putting flowers in your house on Mondays. But I think at the base of any of this, number one thing for me is that gratitude is the secret sauce. And the yay list for me is basically a gratitude journal 2.0. It didn't connect with me to sit down and write, I am grateful for, but when I thought about it as what makes me say yay today, connect it. And so I can do, yay, daffodils at the end of my walkway, or yay, foam on a latte, or yay, new pants,
That button, I love my button pants.
But it was, and if you can sort of start, anyone who's in a kind of a crummy place right now can start with that one act of finding one thing every day that doesn't suck and celebrate it, right? One thing. I mean, something good happened today. One thing. Highlight it, focus on it, single it out. Everyone talks about the negativity bias, and like with all the bad news, I mean, you can really get sucked into this vortex of bad news right now. There's so much scary, terrible stuff happening. Acknowledge it, recognize it, don't spend too much time there. Get your dose of reality, and then focus on one moment of joy, one thing that doesn't stink. And whether that's a health hero or a really pretty rainbow, whatever that is, in your brain to more automatically see the good.
And how long do you feel like it took you? Because I'm big on seeing the good. Like, I live for seeing the good. I'm more wired like that, so it comes naturally to me.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of us that it doesn't come naturally. Switch your mindset, but really transform your mindset to where you have a whole different perspective. How long did it take you?
My father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and died within a 5-month span. And he was my guy, my person. Like, it was a pretty big blow. And I had 3 kids, 3 young kids at the moment. This was 4 years ago. And I didn't know how to move forward. I was stuck. Like, I wanted to crawl in a hole and die. And at that moment, I started something called Operation Good Grief, which ultimately became the Yay List. But it was an activity, a tool for myself to every day seek out something good, find it, and document it on social media with the hashtag Operation Good Grief. And in doing that practice daily for 2 years and creating community around it, people saying, are you okay? What is Operation Good Grief? What are you doing? I'm going to do it too. Oh my goodness. I just lost my grandfather and this is working for me. So building that community around it, really owning that practice It was about 2 years before it absolutely clicked, where I didn't have to work hard anymore.
It came more naturally to you.
And right now, I naturally default to the positive. But the way I train my muscles at the gym, I train my brain.
About neural pathways, you probably really did retrain those neural pathways within your brain, which is scientific, not just the emotional and the spiritual and the health and all of that. It's science as well.
Sure. And that's what it was really interesting to me for my book, because I'm like, hey, this is working for me. And then I did the research, and I have the studies and the PhDs backing up what I put in practice. I did it intuitively, instinctively, after having been
out of need. You need it, probably desperation.
And then I was able to qualify it with science. So it was like I did it, it worked, and then I got science to back me up.
What were some other benefits outside of the thinking part?
So many benefits to positive thinking into a gratitude practice, lower blood pressure, eased anxiety. People who have grateful hearts are less likely to have a repeat traumatic event. So if you have a heart attack and you're grateful, you're less likely to have a subsequent heart attack because you're more likely to take the doctor's advice and take care of yourself.
Okay, that's huge.
It's ginormous.
Who wants a repeat?
No. And I think like people who are grateful and practice gratitude and have these daily rituals are more likely to be physically fit, etc. Those were interestingly already tools I had in my toolkit. Okay. Fitness was always important to me. I was the fitness director of Self Magazine.
You were a certified trainer? Yeah. Did I know that? I don't know, but I am. But you are. 10, 12 years. That's amazing. Oh, thank you. Okay.
Having recovered from an eating disorder, nourishing my body, using food as fuel was already practices I had adopted. So I had those things in place. I was already a physically healthy human. I just wasn't emotionally equipped to happily move through this very traumatic loss, because I am at my core someone who is more likely to see the negative without this training.
What about your relationships? Did your relationships change after that?
My relationship with myself. So I was always good to other people, and I've just been lucky enough to marry a really great guy. That is the one thing I really, 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 really got right.
How do they manage your yayness during the quarantine?
I think I think the neat part is like, I do feel like we are all little mom mirrors. My kids really, they do as I do, not as I say. And it's kind of fun to watch, especially as we're in such close quarters. They really do. They'll say things to me like, stay in your day, mom. Find the yay. What's your highlight?
It's so true.
Biggest gift we can give to the world and to our children is to be the best version of ourselves, whatever that means. And take care of ourselves mentally and physically, because they are paying attention.
Yes. And so how are they doing with the homeschooling? And it's such a huge adjustment.
The way I've been the way I'm sort of been looking at it is that it's been hard for all of us. And I think that what we have to remember for our children is that this is an intense period of grief, right? They're mourning the loss of their kindergarten graduation, softball season, lacrosse practice, birthday parties, friends, like finishing out the school year. For many, many children, this is more loss than they've ever experienced. Maybe they've never lost a grandparent or a dog, anything. Yeah. But now they've lost kind of everything, including their freedom. How do you process that? My kids have moments of extreme silliness, extreme moodiness. I think the best way we're managing it is by creating routine. Okay, we get up at 7:30, we make our beds, we come down to breakfast. And then we break the routine where we go for a bike ride and swing on a rope, just to remember that we have to put everything through the fun filter.
Love a fun filter. That's excellent. Tell me more about the fun filter.
So I as I've been starting my new job as the content director of Women's Day from quarantine, I'm sort of said to my team, like, hey, listen, let's become Destination Celebration, and let's look at everything from through a fun filter. So before you show me anything, put it through the fun filter. Does it bring you joy? Does it make you say yay? Was there one element on this page that made you smile that you're proud of? Because then I want to see it. And so that's kind of how I try to live my life. Like, what is the moment of yay? What is the fun filter? How can we make anything a little bit more fun?
Okay, I love this because I live by bringing my own mojo, which I think you're talking about kind of the same thing as far as my husband and I, even on vacation, even with our son, if he's grumpy, I'm like, you're not in my hula hoop. I'm bringing my own mojo. If you want to come with me, you can. If not, you stay over there. I got my hula hoop and it's all good.
Yep.
So bring your own mojo and add the fun filter. I love this. Second part is back to someone that's watching, that is listening to your bio and listening to your experience. I loved how it feels like everything built on itself and was a stepping stone to the next. And it all began because you said yes in high school. And it began from pain, really coming out of pain, and you're processing the pain and being authentic there once again. Someone that's watching, that's confused, doesn't know what to do, would you give them any words of wisdom, how to even work through possible fears they might be feeling of, wow, for you, what if I submit this paper, everyone's going to know what really went through, and like, what does that mean by being that vulnerable or open?
I think sometimes everybody is just way too future forward, right? If like 6 months ago you were trying to predict this pandemic, that wouldn't have been possible. So it comes back to staying in your day. Like, instead of thinking about what this paper means 3 weeks from now, what does this paper mean right now? Is it your best work? Like, do you feel proud of what you're turning in? That's it, and stop. Don't worry about what the paper means when someone else interprets it. How do you feel about it right now? I think we have to be present, and everything good emanates from being present. I like joke about this all the time, but I have never really had a career goal, but I've had a successful career. And it's because I am passionate and present in whatever it is I'm doing. And it has led to the next thing. I was the executive editor of Good Housekeeping for 6 years. I never thought in a million years that the next big thing, the next right thing was going to be content director of Women's Day. It happened because I was present and excited and doing what I was doing well. So it's sort of like, instead of getting so bogged down in what comes next, just think about what's happening right now.
I love that. And I'm interpreting this in my head of, if we are just staying in our lane with our giftings, and we are being fully present, and we are allowing who we're created to be to not just manifest, but just to live it out, to breathe it, to be it. I really believe everything works out. I really do.
I think another thing that I've always found is also being brave enough to say out loud what you want. I think that's a very big step for many of us into realizing what could be next. I'll never forget when I was working at Cosmopolitan Magazine, I said out loud, while I'm flipping through Self Magazine, I want to be the fitness director of Self Magazine. And at the time, I wasn't a certified trainer. I didn't know anyone at Self Magazine. I just said it out loud. And by being brave enough to say it out loud, something in my own head clicked that was a possibility. So now, if many of us are stuck home, like, what is it that you care about? Is there classes you can take? Are there things that you can do to start to manifest the next thing if you were brave enough? To be brave enough to say what you care about, to be brave enough to say what you find meaningful or find joy in. Like, what are those things? Be brave enough to own it.
I love that. So it's giving ourselves permission to dream. Also verbalize that and share it. Because how often do we have dreams and we don't want to talk about it? We're not going to share that. Are you kidding? You'll think I've lost my mind. But what if I actually do speak it?
And what if the person you speak it to has an idea or a connection or an action step to help propel you forward?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it all works. You just have to be vocal with what you care about.
Okay, so what right now in your life, what are you being vocal about that might not have come to pass yet?
I want my book to be a New York Times bestseller. A brave thing to say out loud, but man, I want people to read this book and I want people to be helped by it.
Especially I feel like when it's not about us, it's us just using what we've been given.
I feel very, very called to be able to share what I've learned. Because I'm not an expert, but I'm an expert guinea pig. And I have used myself as a guinea pig from 25 years of service journalism to really get to a place where, holy crap, I feel so good. And I want everyone to feel this good. I want everyone to be this joyful, this positive, this energized, because it is possible to live this way. And it's really not that hard. And I'm absolutely not going to fix you, but I'm going to give you tips and tricks and strategies to make tomorrow more awesome.
Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't within their core? Now, it doesn't mean they all know how to get there yet, but they will after they read your book. Yeah! Okay, I love it. You're so inspirational, and we believe you because you've lived it. Back to you said, I'm not an expert, but you are experienced in your whys, which I think that's what experts are anyway. If that makes
And I know every expert there is. I've interviewed them all. I've written every story, I've edited the story. So I've been lucky enough to be around a lot of smart people.
Yes, and you're smart as well, and you're using it for good, which I love, modeling for us that it's possible. The book really is going to help us finding this fully charged life because we are free to do that. Each and every one of us, whether we see it or not, we are. How have you set your life up in a way that's given you this ability? Because we can't go it alone, and we need others, even to get a book published, right?
100%. I mean, I would say that I stay closest to people who feel like sunshine. I'll say that all the time. Energy is incredibly contagious. So I'm really terribly affected by negative energy. I don't want to be around it, and I can't fake it. So if you are somebody who is incredibly negative or even toxically positive, right? Because there's such thing as toxic positivity too. I don't want
that denial, by the way.
Yeah. So I'm very choosy about who I tend and choose to surround myself with. Right now, that's pretty easy because it's just Team Murphy. But I think we have to remember that. I mean, my greatest joy in life is like speaking on a panel and then having 100 women subsequently message me and saying, I did that one thing and I'm feeling so great.
And there's nothing better. It's basically using what we've been through to help other people in the way we're made. Like, that's what's so cool is it's fulfilling. It's not taxing. Like this, I can't wait to share with people because it's how I'm made. It's how you're made. It's like fun, but so purposeful.
This is my Jamesy boy.
James, you're so cute. You're pumpkin. What are you doing?
This is Brooksy boy.
I'm Mrs. Mills. Hi, guys. Are y'all having a good day? Are you ready for a snack? Okay, what are your favorite snacks?
Oreos.
Oreos.
I love Oreos. Do you take them apart?
No.
No. Okay, what about chicken tenders?
Well, their favorite word is chicken nuggets.
Yeah. That's like, y'all, I'm not kidding. That is, we'll go out to a nice dinner and I'll ask for chicken tenders. And sometimes I'll just ask for like a thing of whipped cream for dessert. What? I love whipped cream. You can dip strawberries in there. So good. Oh, I love that. Okay, you know what I love? I love the blue. I love the color scheme.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
I love the detail. That's really good.
We donated some art or gave some art to the hospital. This would be a nice one to give too.
You know what would be neat to do with that is you could make little cards. Like you could get little cards printed and then you could write thank you cards to the people at the hospital.
That's a great idea.
And you could sign it on the bottom. That's really good.
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
Let y'all go eat your chicken nuggets.
Chicken nuggets.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. I know it's going to bless people. You're so inspiring. Don't take this the wrong way, but sometimes I get bored and I think it's the ADD. You keep my attention and I love that, and it's real. You have charged me today in energy as well as challenge. Multiple charges here, which I love. And I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.